Macy the Science Gal.
Macy the Science Gal.
Macy, 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 Macy. Ecology is the study of ecosystems.
Macy the Science Gal.
The nervous system and the endocrine system work together to regulate activities throughout the body. They do this by allowing a chemical signal to allow a sign to know when homeostasis is going to be threatened. Unlike other systems, the endocrine system operates using glands. These glands are often related to hormones. Hormones? They're just a chemical signal. They help with the communications between all of your cells from a long distance within the body, but that's not always the case with all different types of hormones. What's going on, neighbor? Did you need some milk or some eggs? Because I have some of those. Pretty sure my chickens just laid fresh eggs this morning. No? Okay, I guess I'll just come back in around 5 minutes because you're my best neighbor ever. Prostaglandins are known as local hormones and do not enter the bloodstream. The hypothalamus regulates the internal environment by the autonomic system. No, not a hippopotamus, but I suppose the glands would be present within a hippopotamus. The hypothalamus controls the glandular secretions of the pituitary gland. The hypothalamus doesn't just have a posterior, but also an anterior section within its glandular secretion process. The growth hormone is affected by the anterior pituitary when instructed to do so. You know, I gotta say, I think I should invest in a larger house. The growth hormone can help alleviate glucose pressures. I would say that that's pretty super. The thyroid gland. Thyroid gland, thyroid gland, thyroid gland is the largest gland located within the neck. The thyroid gland is the largest gland within the endocrine system. It weighs 20 whole grams. Also, its excessively red color is due to the increase of blood and the excessive amounts of blood within the gland. In order for the thyroid to regulate, it has to have excessive amounts of iodine. Insulin is a very important thing to have in order to secrete all of the waste created by the body, which happens within the pancreas. The pancreas is a slim, green little thing that helps you do so. Diabetes is a very common liver disease. It happens as glucose is not able to take up as much energy as it is used to. This causes the patient to be very hungry constantly. The lymphatic system is closely connected to the cardiovascular system. In fact, it has 4 main functions, all having to do with absorption and distribution. Lymphatic capillaries absorb excess tissue fluid and return it to the bloodstream. Small intestine's lymphatic capillaries absorb fats in the form of lipoproteins and transport them to the bloodstream. The lymphatic system is responsible for the production, maintenance, and distribution of lymphocytes. The lymphatic system helps defend the body against pathogens. Additionally, the lymphatic vessels form a one-way system that begins with the lymphatic capillaries. Now, we are constantly exposed to pathogens in our food, drink, and even the air we breathe. But what are we going to do about it? We need something super. immunity is one of the best ways to attack diseases within our body. When tissue is damaged, an inflammatory response is often present. Redness, swelling, or pain are signs of an inflammatory response. Now, within our body, we have protective proteins. A complement. Thanks, but no, a complement is composed of blood plasma cells that complement an immune response. Phagocytes and natural killer cells are able to leave the bloodstream and engulf bacteria in connective tissues. They have various other ways of killing bacteria as well. Macrophages and dendritic cells are also other natural killer cells. How? Additionally, when nonspecific defenses have been inadequate to stop an infection, specific defenses come into play. Immunity isn't able to fight everything within our bodies. Specific and nonspecific defenses are needed. The clonal section model helps diagram the process of a B cell receptor. Many B cells are present, but only the ones that have BCRs can combine with specific antigen clone that goes on to divide and produce many new cells. Defense by B cells occurs when most members of the clone become plasma cells that produce specific antibodies. It is also called humoral immunity because these antibodies are present in blood and lymph. Some progeny inactive B cells become memory B cells and are able to fight over a long-term period. One of the most awesome cells within our body are called T cells. T cells do not produce any antibodies, and they go and attack all of the disease-worthy cells within our bodies. Let's take a look at how T cells help us not die. T cells are formed in red bone marrow before they migrate to the thymus, a gland that secretes thymic hormones. These hormones stimulate T cells to develop. When a T cell leaves the thymus, it is a unique TCR just as B cells have a BCR. A macrophage presents an antigen only to a T cell that has a TCR capable of combining with a particular antigen. A major difference in recognition of an antigen by helper T cells and cytotoxic T cells is that helper T cells only recognize an antigen in combination with MHC proteins. Some research is underway to help T cells continue to attack all cancerous cells within the body. Some other cells are known to come in and inhibit T cells from attacking the cancerous cells. This is what scientists are trying to improve in order to help cancer disappear faster. Within our bodies, there are active and passive immunities. An active immunity is when enough antibodies are generated within the body without any extra help. But passive immunity occurs when antibodies are needed to be injected in order for the body to actively attack the disease or the cancerous cells within the body. Basic unit of an antibody is in the shape
Of an S.
of the letter
Of an S.
of the letter of a Y. Let's go take a look.
Each arm has a heavy and a light polypeptide chain. These chains have a constant regions located at the trunk of the Y, where the sequence of amino acids is set. The class of antibody is determined by the structure of the antibody's constant region. Another name for an antibody is an immunoglobulin. Now that I'm done saving the body, let's get back to my former scientific self. Fever can occur when a person's body's temperature increases. But treating a fever isn't always beneficial because having a fever indicates that there's something wrong within our bodies. Although the immunity is key to keeping us healthy, it does have some downfalls, such as tissue rejection, immune system disorders, and allergies. The kidney is composed of the renal medulla, the renal cortex, and the renal pelvis. The kidneys are the main organ that help with excretion in all animals. The renal cortex is in the outer region of the kidney and has somewhat of a granular appearance. The renal medulla consists of 6 to 10 cone-shaped renal pyramids that lie on the inner side of the renal cortex. Lastly, the renal pelvis is in the innermost part of the kidney and is a hollow chamber. Urine collects in the renal pelvis and is then carried to the bladder by a ureter. Additionally, nephrons, which compose 1 million tiny tubules within the kidney, produce urine. Some nephrons are located primarily in the renal cortex, but others dip down into the renal medulla. Each nephron is made of several parts. And with that information, I'm kicking out.
Missy the Science Gal.
To infinity and beyond!